is Wednesday, September 17th, and we are here for another episode of What the Truck. I am your host, Malcolm Harris, here only on FreightWaves TV. Super excited to be back with you guys and in the fold. Today is going to be a jam-packed show, and I couldn't be happier. I'm going to bring her in a little earlier because I just need y'all to see the legendary, the one and only Heather Williams, Head of Customer Experience at REPOWR. Heather, how are you?
I am so good. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to What the Truck. Couldn't be happier that you're here. And we got some exciting stuff today. Of course, we're going to do a one-on-one with Heather. Heather and her background is amazing, y'all. She has led teams. I mean, she is that girl. I'm just going to talk about her a lot during this show. And also, we're going to bring a guy that I really enjoy that you guys are going to get a lot of value as well. Adam Wingfield, of course, the founder of Innovative, leading carrier services, of course, founder of iDispatch Hub, and he knows the Playbook here at FreightWaves. He is, of course, the founder and creator of Playbook. Super excited for Adam to join the show as well. But we could not do all this without our lovely sponsors. Verizon Business, the best in the business. Let's hear from Verizon.
Big.
Small.
Essential.
Big.
Small.
Essential.
Big.
Small.
Essential.
Grande.
Pequeño.
Esencial.
No matter what business you're in, Verizon Business has the network and solutions you need to power it.
From the facility to the fleet, Verizon Business gives you real-time visibility into your supply chain so you can keep on trucking ahead of demand and the competition. Learn more at verizon.com/distribution. Verizon Business, everybody. And we have had quite the day, quite the week.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a nuts week, and I kind of want to go through headlines and just touch on them real briefly. So first things first, this data, FMCSA, so apparently there was swaths of public carrier data no longer accessible on the FMCSA website as of yesterday, but that data is now back. I will tell you guys, several types of data basically was made available from, of course, the FMCSA, and it disappeared on the DOT website. And this outage, it really affected a lot of different stakeholders, you know, whether they rely on safety, carrier, inspection, crash data. Of course, like I said, it's been restored, but from transparency, I mean, this data is going to affect a lot of the public. I mean, there's going to be different types of, ramifications from shippers, brokers, insurers, so for me, my first thing when I think about this, the removal of this data, how do you feel being in the space? And also, intentional? Was this intentional? I mean, it seems fishy to me.
You know, honestly, I think things are just challenging to keep up with when it comes to data and protection with data. And I think that we're putting an intentional effort towards maintaining integrity there.
Yeah.
It does seem a little fishy. And being on the product side now, I'm less involved in the day-to-day with keeping up with some of those components. But yeah, man, I mean, it's a little suspect.
It was a little sus. And again, the data, for those that don't know, is back, but something to keep an eye out. I mean, because you got to think public perception, like this is different. So we'll see how this happens. And something else that's different, let's talk about $1.4 million in cargo theft. There was a huge bust, you guys. So apparently Overhaul, they aided law enforcement for this, and straight out of Compton.
Oh, boy.
Straight out of Compton. This is in Compton, California.
Oh, no.
Stolen electronics. So we got to count them. 8 total suspects arrested in connection with the theft. Demonstrated that the value of cargo tracking, visibility, and rapid response tools basically, combated this organized theft. Shippers and carriers obviously investing in, monitoring security tech. There's going to be an ROI behind that. And we've seen cargo thefts left and right.
Yeah.
My time at Axel, I mean, I used to get the alerts literally every hour on the hour about what's happening. You see it 24/7, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's definitely something that we see consistently. I think that, it's driver appreciation week, so, carriers are our bread and butter, but there's some crafty crooks out there that are looking for a way to monopolize on the industry. So we have to keep a lookout for them.
No, definitely. We have to keep a lookout for them. And, talking, CSX and their CEO, I saw this statement. There's an obsession with profit margins and it's stunning railroad growth. So apparently, what was said that the focus on margins, right? It's potentially hurting top line growth in the railroad sector. So possibly, essentially saying that, all right, like these metrics and looking at this top line growth is something that is important.
Yeah.
You've been in the industry,
Yeah.
for a very long time, but it's not everything. So he suggests essentially that a balance must be struck. Profit margins are important, but growth potential may require accepting lower margins in the short term.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about that?
I mean, essentially, across the marketplace and my time in the brokerage space for sure, we had to monitor just how are we making money and making profitability work in the marketplace, and what are we paying attention to? And I think you have to have some of that ebb and flow where you're condensing some of those margins down in order to provide the service, but you have to pay attention to, you have to pay attention to your top line revenue and ensure that it's a balance and it's not something that's just willy nilly or not made without data insights.
Definitely. This next article that I wanted to touch on, I want to give a special shout out to Stuart, our writer here at FreightWaves. So, obviously, ocean rates, they're going up, and there's positive signs surrounding trade negotiations taking place this week in Madrid between China and the U.S. That led to essentially a social media deal for the platform that we know and love that I cannot get enough of is TikTok. I'm on TikTok 24/7.
It's kind of hard to get off of TikTok if
Yeah.
you're being real.
Yeah, it's a search engine. It's something that, people use a lot of. And I know that, I can look up a recipe. I can look up media like this. I can look up, really
You can
everything.
also go down the rabbit hole.
Oh my gosh. being stuck in the rabbit hole on TikTok and just being there for hours, it's crazy. So some good work and some good puns on the punchline from Stuart. But China East Coast prices, they've gone up 4% to 3,368 per FEU, as well as has risen by 24% in the month of September. So, things are going to get worse before they get better. Obviously, we've talked about the international market this week. From your seat, where do you kind of see, knowing your experience and kind of where this market's headed, if we know, right?
I mean, I feel like what we're reading about, we haven't hit a bottom yet. I think it's hard and not predictable
Yeah.
to follow. And so I think that staying abreast on whatever's the latest and greatest to make sure that you make calculated and informed decisions is absolutely imperative for anyone involved in this space. And it'll only help you align your customers and help direct your carriers further
No,
when you know.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And looking in our space, the TIA is warning. Apparently, there's a TQL linked broker, rather, this liability case that's going to threaten the industry. So,
Oh dear.
yeah, TQL is notorious for being, in some stuff. And that's not a
That's
shocker.
fair.
I mean, they're huge. I
Yeah.
mean, they're one of the largest players, if not, a top three player in the brokerage space. I mean, this case is, set to talk basically about the liability brokers might carry downstream for events, whether it's accidents, damage, freight loss. If brokers are held more accountable, this could change contracts, insurance coverage, risk management, pricing, all this. I mean, when you kind of think about this as a nutshell, I mean, it's just not a TQL issue. This is amongst all brokerages in the space.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's going to affect more than one party and not just the big heavy hitters
Yeah.
like TQL.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And last but not least, I want to show some signs of success as we are appreciating Trucker Week. Look at this fleet. This is a redone and remodeled and upgraded fleet from the Hill Brothers Transportation. I want to give a special shout out to them as well as Kaylee for the article find. This is awesome, man. They're out with the old and in with the new. So looking at this is amazing. That fleet, those are some
Those
real
are some
hot
beautiful,
trucks.
lovely trucks. They look
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, they look great, and it shows that yes,
They're great colors.
they're great colors, red and white. We love that.
They're the
And
red and white.
you said that because you're a Louisville grad.
Red all day.
Go
Right all
cards.
day. Go cards.
Go cards. Nah,
L1C4.
I love that. So no, definitely. I wanted to hit headlines before we prepared for blast off because it's ready, set, and repower.
Repower. Here we go.
You are here at Repower, head of customer experience.
I am.
Kind of walk me through. I mean, I've seen a lot of what you've done, right? I mean, this is, of course, Trucker Appreciation Week. Let's just kind of start there. Like, what does this week mean to you, both personally, because you've had some personal ties to trucking,
Oh, yeah.
as well as professionally?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Trucker Appreciation Week can be summed up in a massive thank you to our professional drivers in the industry. We are just forever grateful for the way that you hold yourselves and carry yourselves live out on our roads and highways and byways every day. I've involved myself into transportation, as you know,
Yeah.
for a long time, started in 2009, and just, as a driver recruiter,
Wow.
like learning what it means to be a trucker was the start of where I began. And I think from there, building all of that sentiment and that value of like
Yeah.
what they truly experience is really hits home for me. So this week's massively important.
Definitely. Before we really dive into all things Repower, I want you to tell the people
Oh.
what led you to logistics. I mean, coming out of, you were a student athlete.
Yeah.
I think the fastest lady in freight.
Oh,
Some would say.
there's a handful of people that might try to attest that now. Honey, we old.
Honey, we old. I need y'all to clip that in the back for me.
But back in the day, for sure.
Yeah.
I think you and Kaylee actually talked about it a couple episodes ago. You talked about the drive and attraction from athletics and sports into this industry, and I think that's where I began. It was it happened to be shout out to David Ferguson, who's still in the space, but he was involved over at US Express at the time and had reached out to me and wanted to bring me into the space because of my athletic background, which is
Yeah.
nothing to do with the industry, but that competitive drive in nature kind of brought me in, and I started out as a recruiter, and it's been kind of this climb of knowledge from there, trying to figure out and tier my way through, like, how do I understand what supply chain really is, and like, how do I utilize the skill sets that I developed on the track, so to speak, and marry those two up nicely together.
Definitely. No, I love that. And looking at, celebrating truckers, I mean, Repower does so much in the space,
Oh, yeah.
specifically truckers, drivers, all across the board. Has there been any special type of initiatives this week that you guys have done?
Oh, for sure. We've got a discount code out right now for our carriers that are in our marketplace that can utilize that to get a percentage off of their reservations. We are constantly calling, and we're actually working through with my carrier managers, building out just kind of hey, here's your performance and how are you doing and how can we help you? I think the message that we've got to share with our carrier network is just how Repower can help them become versatile and flexible in a space that's incredibly challenging and incredibly difficult to navigate. And we want to be that easy button for them.
That easy button. I love the sound of that. And, when it comes to how you've kind of been directly included in Repower, customer experience is the number one kind of foundation of what you do. It's in your
Yeah.
title. How has it shaped your role at Repower?
Yeah, so I think the way that this lovely startup of Repower has begun is just trying to work between supply and demand. So we're kind of like a two-sided coin where we're helping out we're the universal trailer network for our suppliers that have idle or underutilized assets that are waiting out there that are, essentially incurring debt for them. How can they make performance and work out of those, and how can they recoup a revenue off of those
Right.
underutilized assets? And then for our carriers, when they're trying to make these decisions, how do we, on getting access to equipment and being able to utilize that equipment, how do we tie the two together? And that's where the experience comes into play. And so my expertise and my background is using that customer experience to create a seamless operation where our carriers feel sentiment, they feel listened to, they feel heard, where our suppliers get profitability and support on repositioning their equipment across the U.S. And we become that kind of middle ground for them. And they use our platform as a tool, like a Swiss Army knife or
Like a
something.
Swiss Army knife.
Since you're in your camo.
I got some camo back here. No, I got asked from in the back. They're like, "Are you going to war today?" I was like, "No, it's that time. It's that time."
I
Um,
love it.
so looking at you, obviously hear from drivers all the time,
Yeah.
right? There's feedback given directly to you,
Oh,
to
yeah.
your team. How has this influenced like Repower and what you all are doing? You've spoken to it, but like, is there like, all right, like I'm hearing this in my ear. I have got to kind of steer towards this way.
100%. So carriers give us real-time feedback on the equipment that they're utilizing, but also they give us feedback on our platform directly. So we can give feedback two ways to our suppliers. Hey, this equipment, we need help or support here. Or, hey, I'm struggling on the product side. And what's awesome about our product is that we've got such a fantastic team of engineers and our VP of product, Matt Harb, who works directly with us to kind of make those tweaks in the system so
Yeah.
that we can pretty quickly remedy whatever is causing an issue. So we rely on those carriers to give us that feedback so that we can make it easy for them, because the last thing that they need is to get onto the platform and have trouble with whatever they're doing while they're under a load, under time constraints, hurrying to get home, whatever it may be.
Definitely. Is there anything specifically that you're doing as well that you can just identify that makes life simple for drivers?
Shoot, yeah. I think when they're uploading, we just make it easy on our web app that it's like, upload pictures. You take a
Yeah.
picture with your smartphone. Everybody's got one. Take a picture of the trailer. There's your pre-trip inspection.
That's
There it
awesome.
is. You can just upload it directly in. Or, hey, we are a listening ear for them to just talk to and work through solutions or problems that they're experiencing on the road. Or, hey, you need help putting in a form, or you need help uploading your certificate of insurance. We're right there. It's an easy button. It's a simple fix.
Definitely. Now, you mentioned it earlier about just how long you've been in this industry. I mean, coming up on 2 decades. I'm
Ooh,
not trying to age you here,
ooh, honey.
but coming up on, I mean, you've
We
seen,
said we old. Hashtag.
we are at hashtag we old. So you've seen
We're
some
not.
stuff. And, I started this segment last episode, and it's like a what the truck moment. So I
Yeah.
want to ask you, like, your what the truck moment from stories when it's come to drivers. Is there anything you've just been like, oh, what the truck, but replace the truck, if you know what I mean?
I get you. I'm following. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yes, on both sides of the coin, for sure. What the truck when there's been really crazy situations. I mean, historically, even before Repower, I've been
Yeah.
in the brokerage space. I've been at asset-based companies. Like, there's challenges that they face and things that happen or that take place that are like, what even is this? But on a positive note, I think one of the best case scenarios that we can highlight is when a solution is provided to them, when we can make them be able to, by providing a cheaper option or a more flexible option, they get home on time. Their family life doesn't get messed up. They are able to provide some cost savings to their normal, whatever they've got for expenditures that week. I think those moments are really great highlights and stories of where we've been like, helpful. And this is like, we're doing right. This is
No,
good.
for
I'm
100%.
not highlighting the bad stories
No,
about them.
do
I'm
not.
not going to do it.
You know, I
It's
was,
driver appreciation
I,
week.
I was gonna, poke there, but no.
Nope, no, you're not.
Um, so obviously things for Repower, right, guys? I mean, it stands out because there's things, of course, same day trailer access, transparent pricing, no mileage fees, flexible insurance options. What are some of the key things that obviously made stuff stand out like this? Like, because this is really good.
It's unique, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's super unique. So I think our founders saw kind of a problem and created a very quick and kind of obvious solution,
Yeah.
right? Like, let's create a universal trailer network that creates flexibility and access and ease of movement that gives power only users access to assets at a more reliable rate that they can actually function with, and gives them, flexibility within their framework and what the marketplace does. We talked a little bit about just having that volatile marketplace, and for a carrier to be able to flex with that based on what the market's doing, based on what kind of equipment they're hauling, and their ease of access to getting that equipment is huge. It's crucial. And so since we can provide that for them, I think that it's just, it's a no-brainer, and it's just something that creates another tool for them to utilize with us.
Definitely. When you get feedback, and we talked about it, but specifically from drivers again, like how are you just overall just feeling good, bad, ugly whenever you take those suggestions, those comments, those concerns sometimes.
Yeah.
And like what is that emotion like?
That's a good question. I think for me, being a head of a customer experience role, you're it's not going to go 100% all the time, right? And so you're going to have disgruntled situations. You're going to have both on the supplier side or the demand side where people are frustrated because it's not working out the way that they want,
Yeah,
or the outcome of what the situation they've gotten into is not the way that they want. And it can be a little daunting, but I think ultimately at the end of the day is to be solutions oriented.
definitely.
And I think my team that we're building at Repower is geared towards that. I think that they are all looking for a way to remedy and a way to provide a solution that's going to work and be in the best interest, one, of respect of the equipment that we are fortunate enough to have on our platform, but in addition, that supports our carriers and ties all that up very nicely, to create, an avenue for them and not it be something that we're mulling around or throwing out the door. We want a good user experience.
No, most definitely. And you guys are definitely providing that and packing a power punch as well. I saw something that caught my eye though. The Powerstreak program.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I need all the details on this because this seems pretty lucrative. I was like, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah, so we just recently launched this, and this is huge for our carrier network, and I hope that our carriers that are listening are able to tap in. So this is just essentially creating avenue for them to earn discounts on our platform by having good performance metrics, right? So returning equipment on time, not having any issues with like their payments on our platform, or making sure that they on time pick and submit their forms correctly. So it's literally just gamification and helping kind of, create like, I'm going to gun for this and I'm going to work towards this because I know that I'm going to get a discount, or I'm going to get a reward from Repower, and I'll have access to more and more equipment to make my job flexible and to create, an easy avenue for them out in their freight world.
And their freight world. I love that. I love that. You also have a dedicated team
We
that are
do.
just like for drivers.
Yeah. So I think in the spirit of like, technology and advancement there, we've also still got bodies in the office that are working directly for the driver. So I've got one of them, it's his birthday today. So shout out to Tucker. Happy birthday, Tucker.
Tucker, if
It's
you
a big 30.
Oh, it's a big 3-0 for
It's a big
Tucker?
3-0, honey.
Tucker, happy birthday, brother. I hope you have an awesome one for myself as well as Heather.
He's great. Yeah, so the carrier managers work directly with our carrier partners, and helping them just perform along the metrics that we have outlined in our Powerstreak, but also just to help guide them and make smart, informed decisions about the units that they're going to be picking up that best supply what they're doing on a day-to-day. Where are they going? Who are they getting their loads from? How are they working? Where can we help you? That's the bottom line, is how can we help them?
Definitely. And I'm sure that, I want to put myself in your shoes right now, right? I am Heather Williams. What is the most common theme that you hear from drivers in terms of just feedback that they're giving you?
Oh man, I mean, I think just common negative, I guess, would just sometimes be like, hey, I need support here. I need an answer that's expedited. I need
Yeah.
something quick. They work in a very fast-paced environment, and so they need a fast solution. And sometimes, as you guys know, supply chain's not fast moving. Sometimes it takes a little minute. Other feedback is that this is great. This is easy to use. They love our app. They love being able to get onto our platform and utilize the platform the way that it's intended. They love having somebody to support them making those decisions,
Right.
so that they choose the right unit and choose the right area of where they need for that marketplace. So lots of positivity there, and they have good relationships with our team members too, which is always a plus.
No, and you can see that, on reviews, on
Oh yeah.
obviously, different testimonials from the content you guys produce, but also you kind of led me into this next point perfectly
Oh
because we were talking about being fast moving.
yes.
You guys are responsive, like
Yeah.
very, very fast. Like
Yeah.
how do y'all do that? How do
Right.
you guys stay like just in it?
I think it's important just to have metrics and SLAs that match up to with what you're trying to create. If I'm trying to create an awesome user experience, we need to have a response. You need to be acknowledged quickly.
Right.
You need to have somebody at least telling you like, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a relationship-based business.
Mm.
It will forever be a relationship-based business. Why is building that and building trust with drivers? It seems like the glue that's really keeping this thing together and forging it ahead. How have you guys been so good at doing that across the organization?
Yeah, I think truckers have, and our professional drivers have such a challenge, right, out there with every avenue of their job. And creating trust is by keeping your promises. It's doing what you say you're going to do. So if I have a carrier that needs support and needs help, I'm going to let them know I can help them, and I'm going to help them. I'm not going to say I'm going to help them and then fall back. I'm going to respond. I'm going to give them time frames. I'm going to set dates. I'm going to say by this time. And I think that the platform's great for utilizing how we can support. And I think that our team members internally are just there as advocates for our carrier units. So
Absolutely. Now, looking into the future, looking ahead, right? You got
Looking
this
ahead.
crystal ball.
Oh boy.
What's the vision for not only you, but Repower's role in the driver community and in this space?
Yeah, I think I can probably be a sounding or resounding board, but growth, right? Growth and
Yeah.
permeating our carrier network. We need to be viewed as a tool and a helpful tool. And I see that through the growth and the expansion of our marketplace, providing more for our carriers, providing more for our suppliers, ways for them to tap into through our data and our analytics, and being able to show them like, here, if you make these decisions, or if we do this way, this can help you on the asset side. And then, hey, carriers, choosing equipment or choosing or following this marketplace or utilizing equipment out of this area and helping them just navigate some of the rough road that they're already on. No pun intended, but pun intended. I think that's, truly what elevates us in. And so that growth is really important. It's something that we're all very focused on, and we're ready to rock and roll. We're ready to send it to the moon.
Send it to the moon.
To the moon.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
When it comes to the industry, but specifically when I think about tech versus human connection, like that is something that is constantly kind of like a push-pull in the industry. How do you all keep such an awesome pulse on tech, but you still have like this human connection that, hey, if a driver needs to reach out to somebody, there is dedicated folks on standby to help out?
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, we have a highly skilled and wonderful product team that is tied in closely, and I think that this is a key component. Oftentimes you tie CX or customer experience alongside your sales team, and you absolutely have to do that. But I think in addition to that, being tied into the integrations and into the product so that you know exactly where it is that we need support or need advocacy, you're there. I think you marry up everything really nicely. It can be innovative and it can be fast and it can be AI integrated to provide some of that instantaneous response, but then you have real people that are working alongside, that are building and developing. I think of it as like farming the network that we're in. Like we're
Yeah.
trying to essentially cultivate, great crops, and we do that through our people. And we do that through our technology as well. But the people there are there and tied to help make sure that they have a listening ear and somebody to lean on to.
Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. Now, it wouldn't be a what the truck moment
boy.
without me kind of going a little off script. So I'm gonna do it, and
Okay.
I want people to see Heather Williams as
Oh
she is.
boy.
So you're a truck driver. Let's just put this into
Okay.
perspective. You know,
Shout out to the female truck drivers out there, though, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I
Ladies.
have mad respect. Mad respect.
it's crazy. You're going to a truck stop.
Okay.
What's the snack of choice? Where are we going?
Oh,
What are we doing?
this is every time we're going to either Pilot or something where we can grab ourselves a little bag of those honey mustard pretzels in the pieces, or buffalo wing.
Okay.
Either one is
Okay.
fine. Okay. I like a crispy seltzer, not a regular seltzer.
Not a
Lime.
Truly or
Not a Truly.
yeah.
We're not trying to.
Not a White
We're not
Claw.
trying to do all that. But what are they called? LaCroix.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like
Anyway,
a sparkling soda.
we're getting a sparkling soda and we're getting some pretzels.
Okay.
That's
cool.
my go-to.
Very healthy.
What's your go-to?
Man, I'm a huge jerky guy.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and I know, Buc-ee's is not a truck stop. But they have the best jerky.
It's a
in the game.
trucking mansion.
Yeah. They honestly, one day, I was at Pilot, and they had some really good jerky that was there too. So, give me jerky, and also
What's the drink?
the drink of choice. I'm probably gonna go with a Monster, just like
Oh.
a normal Monster, and like a fruit punch. I'm a fruit punch guy. Love lemonade. Love fruit punch.
This industry is so jacked up on caffeine at all
Yeah.
times anyway. So
It's
the Monster
horrible.
makes sense.
It's
I'm
well.
not doing a
Are
month.
you a coffee or tea person?
I'm a coffee gal.
Okay.
Hot coffee, not ice.
Yeah. Yeah. Hot coffee, not ice. Talk to me when it comes to trucking.
Yeah.
If you had to just put 3 words to it that you could just describe the landscape right now, what would those 3 words be?
Oh, all right. Let me think. Trucking is vital. Trucking is stressful,
Yeah.
very stressful, but it's incredibly rewarding.
Okay. Vital, stressful, rewarding.
We need it.
Gotta
It's
have it.
great. It causes a lot of stress sometimes, but we're here to help. We're here to mitigate.
If you could send one message of appreciation to truckers this week, what does that message sound like from you?
Oh, from the bottom of my heart, just thank you for the professional behavior that you exhibit. Thank you for keeping our livelihoods afloat and product in our homes and households. Thank you endlessly from the bottom of my heart. I just feel like our truckers and professional drivers across the United States are crucial and they're a key component. And it's not appreciated enough. And we're happy to donate, to designate this week for that, or this month for that. But I mean, truly, all time, great professional drivers deserve a lot.
That was so well said.
Thanks.
10 out of 10. Winner chicken dinner. That was awesome. Oh, wow. Where can drivers and carriers, and really all of us, go to learn more about you as well as Repower to get started?
Repower, our platform is repower.com. It only has one E, so it's REPOWR. We dropped that last E because that's great. And you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm typically pretty active there.
Fantastic. Any more for our listeners, for me, anything at all?
I'm just excited that you're a part of this. I appreciate you highlighting our network, and come find us, come work with us, call us. We'd love to help you. We're here to help.
Well, that is, I appreciate it first off. Seriously, like, I'm so happy you're doing so awesome. Let me, and I definitely just appreciate you coming by. And again, this is Heather Williams, head of customer experience at Repower. Make sure they got some awesome folks with them in the saddle. Shout out to their entire team. Some great and talented folks over at
Thank you.
Repower.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Coming up next is going to be the man. Again, we kind of teed him up earlier, but I really want to kind of introduce him again. You guys know him from Playbook. I met this man a couple of days ago, actually, in person. He was shooting some content here from Playbook. He says that he is a better EA College Football 26 player than me. Not sure about that. We're going to have to test that out in front of everybody at F3. Mr. Adam Wingfield. Adam, what's up, baby?
What's going on, man? How you doing, man? You doing
I'm
all right?
doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I can't complain.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you for jumping on What the Truck with me to talk about all things trucker appreciation. I mean, you've been obviously in the space for a very long time. You've been a strong voice for drivers for years. I mean, you've done it all. And when you think about Driver Appreciation Week, what does this really mean to you, being what you are and where you've been?
So a couple of things stand out to me. Malcolm, we're in a place now that there's a day for everything, right? You've got, there's a day and there's a time to recognize everybody. You have time that we recognize nurses. You have time we recognize teachers. So there's an opportunity for recognition everywhere. But what it means to me, it means that more than anything, that really the soul and heartbeat of America really has the opportunity to be highlighted this week. Whether or not that highlight meets what that standard should look like, that's always going to be up for discussion. But, I remember when, way back in the day when I was a driver and during Driver Appreciation Week, it really didn't feel much different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that, you would go to a truck stop and they give you, 2 hot dogs for one or something like that, or give you some soda or something like that and say, hey, thank you for what you do. But I think it just goes a little bit further beyond than just the cliche term of it. I love the fact that drivers are being earmarked as a time, like, hey, this time of the year, we're going to celebrate you. We're going to talk about your contributions and how important you are. how far that goes is up to the companies, and it's up to those folks that have the voices out there to do that.
I love kind of the way you phrased that because you talk about your experience and doing what you've done and what does real driver appreciation look like? Like what actions, like you talked about like a soda, I mean that's thanks, but like it's not really, moving the needle for me. What does, some actions that make drivers feel valued?
Continuously being heard is more important and showing that what it be, so here when you go back to the type of people and how people value listeners, so you got being heard is part of the process, but knowing that what is being said is being considered and being acted upon. There's things that are happening within this industry that's been impacting drivers since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
We're when you think about things such as conditions, like Malcolm. The funny thing is that when you say you appreciate truck driver appreciation, and when you say you appreciate me, I go back to COVID and I go back to the time where you remember they were having, signs that were hung off of interstates like we love our truck drivers, and at way stations they were giving out pizzas, and it was this whole grassroots effort to really kind of show up on how like, hey, we really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
But to shine a note on that, once that driver leaves that way station and goes to deliver to ABC widgets, and he pulls up and he backs up to the dock, and the dock supervisor say, yeah, open the doors, driver, you're going to door number 4, and by the way, don't use my bathroom. So when I think about driver appreciation, I think about the opportunities that are still at hand and things that need to happen. It's systemic, right? It's
Yes.
amazing to me that we're in 2025, 2025,
Big
the year
2025.
of, right, the year of 2025, 25 years after the whole 1999 or 2000, like 25 years past that, like, and we're still putting an actual effort to have a bathroom bill in place. Think about that. A bathroom bill in place so that drivers can use a bathroom. Like the basic level of humanity. And when I look at, appreciation, 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 man, there's a lot of work to be done. And that word appreciation should be felt all the way across the board. And one thing too, and I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, Malcolm. One of the
Yeah.
things that I look at from a appreciation standpoint is like, you got your truck stops, and they do a really good job of putting it on the flyer. But what does that look like in terms of inside that truck stop? Are you offering more than just a big gulp of a soda or a hot dog? What are you really truly doing for the drivers out there? And I challenge all of the suppliers, all of the vendors out there. You have in the consumer economics, you have Black Friday, which is, in my opinion, Black Friday is Consumer Appreciation Day, right? Because that's the day you're going to go and you're going to find the biggest deals, the biggest sales. Everybody's putting their best foot forward in it. The same thing can hold true for drivers at that point. Is that, what are vendors doing, in addition to that? It should really feel like, this week really is something special. So, while I think that recognizing drivers as a key component of what we do is exceptionally important, I think that companies miss the mark when it comes down to how far they can go with some of the things that they offer in that. And that could come by way of fringe benefits, it can come by way of time off, it can come by way of a lot of different things. But I think just running across the computer screen on your dispatch screen saying, thank you for what you do, I think it can go a lot further, because the sacrifices that you make out there, I don't think people realize and understand what the sacrifices are of being a truck driver. I'll be honest with you. I think that non-truck driving people, and it's no shade or no bad thing about it, is they don't really understand that it's so much more than just driving the truck.
Mm.
You have, I think the driving the truck part, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the driving the truck part is the easiest part of the job. It is, and that's just coming from a driver. The hardest part is everything that comes in between. The time away from family and what it does for you mentally, like your mental health, it takes a hit, like being away like that. Some people can do that. Some people have, the ability to do that, but there are so many different, and I can go on and on and on about it. I know we don't have all day to talk about it, but I just think that I think that earmarking it, yes, But I think companies need to be very, very strategic, calculated, and be very creative on the things that they can do to make Driver Appreciation Week as a start and a catalyst for what driver appreciation looks like throughout the year.
Adam, that was so well said. I mean, because I was gonna literally lead into another question, but you addressed it already because there is, I mean, and we can just be real and just, talk candidly. There's a lot of BS gestures that are just like, hey, here's a
Yeah.
big gulp and some pizza. We appreciate you. But it's like, hey, I haven't seen my kids in 23 days. I'm about to be on the brink of a divorce because I'm not home making these sacrifices. My benefits suck. I had to pay this copay because my son had an ear infection. There's things that are just outside of the scope of what it, comes with being a driver that not typical people see. I mean, they see it as a burden, like, oh my God, they're in the left lane. Like, I have somewhere to be, and not necessarily like, hey, this is what's keeping things moving. So, man, thank you for kind of really shedding some light on what that looks like. I really do appreciate it.
No, I mean, and it's funny that you mentioned that last part. That last part is like it sums it all up. You appreciate me until it's time for me to merge over into that lane that you want to occupy. You and that's where it goes. You appreciate me in it just up until it's time to get ahead of you in traffic, and then we're cool again. But it's like, do you really, really appreciate? And I think that this is something for everybody that's listening, everybody that can hear the sound of my voice. Do you really appreciate the sacrifice? Do you really appreciate the fact that that driver that's beside you, regardless of where he come from and where he's going, like he's sacrificing something? And yes, that's the job. Yes, that's exactly, yeah, that's the avenue is his choice. I get all that, of course, right? He wrote that, he wrote that as part of his story, or she. But even still, do you really, really know and do you really understand what a driver goes through? And I'm telling you, if driver appreciation meant so much, why is there almost a 100% driver turnover ratio in companies right now? Why?
Oh, talk about it.
Why?
Talk about it.
Why? So if it means so much to you, if you're a carrier and it means so much to you, why are your drivers leaving? That same driver I just showed appreciation to just
Yeah.
now, Malcolm, is
Yeah.
not going to be there 6 months from now.
And that's an issue. I mean, because you got to think about it also, and that leads me perfectly into this next point. Why are companies missing the mark on turnover, on
Yeah.
driver appreciation? Like, why knowing that, all right, someone like you that has this knowledge and other people have this knowledge? I mean, it's not. It's a concept, but it's not rocket science. It's like, hey, like these are just the kind of the levers that we need to push and pull. Why are companies missing the mark?
Man, I don't want to get too off on a soapbox, but it's cheaper. It's cheaper to turn than it is to
Yeah.
retain. And we know that. It's cheaper to turn than it is to retain. I think that, when you look at it from that standpoint, and when I say that is because sometimes with retention costs compensation. It could be a compensation in a variety of different avenues. It doesn't necessarily have to hit the wallet. But I think a lot of companies don't focus on the retention component of it. And when you look at retention, I think that they don't really understand what it is. And sometimes companies are just a little too large for it, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, too, man, is that one of the things that impacts retention more than anything is the environment. And that's something that you can't change. But the one thing that you'll see, and the thing that happens within the industry, the trucking industry is highly competitive. You can't go to a bathroom in a pilot when you walk down that hallway without passing a board that's got 500 different companies that are hiring and they saying they're going to treat you better than the next company. And it's like it's always that grass is greener on the other side approach. And as a driver, when I first was brought into the environment back in 99, 2000, like it was like, wow, you got all these companies that want me to drive their trucks. And they make you feel like that because they're throwing these ads in front of you, they're throwing these opportunities out there in front of you, just to realize that you're doing the exact same thing. And the thing that makes it different from company to company isn't necessarily, the pay all the time. It's the environment, it's the conditions, it's the customers that they deliver to, it's the equipment that they have. There's a lot of things that kind of roll into that. And in some companies, they miss the mark simply because they don't identify with their drivers well. Their staff that they have, whether it's the driver management, whether it's their dispatch staff, are not trained. They're not trained properly. They're not held accountable for retention, or if they're not held accountable to the same standards. The driver has got a lot of pressure on them, from HOS to the motoring public to being, we just talked about, to being away from your family. You got all this pressure on you.
Definitely.
But that sits in that office that manages the driver gets to go home every day. Same time every day. The only, maybe you got to sit in traffic a little bit, but they get to go home every day. And the thing about that is a lot of time, unless you truly don't understand and identify with a driver, you won't understand what it's like to meet eye to eye and be able to have a good common ground for discussion when it comes down to what could we do better. Like, as a trucking company, how often are you surveying your drivers to determine how they're feeling? How often are you running exit surveys when your drivers leave? So when your drivers leave and they give you feedback on why they left, and when you have drivers that are on the fringe that are in your company right now, that's that feedback that you need to take and say, hey, you know what? We maybe do something better. We may need to incorporate some of the stuff to improve our structure. But then you got some people that just honestly just don't care. Like, I'll just go to CDL school and get somebody else. It's
I couldn't
cheaper.
agree with you more. And you said a lot of valid points, specifically about like the exit surveys, as well as, just this genuinely that, I mean, I'll just say that give a damn, right? It's just not kind of prevalent in some of the decision making seats when it comes to, drivers, driver retention, driver satisfaction. I mean, it's down the board. And you mentioned something earlier. It was a time date, it was a timestamp, and it was 1999 in the 2000s. So I want to go back from the 99 in the 2000s. Talk to me. You see what I did there? I know you did.
I got you, and I got you. I got you.
When you were, back then, what's something, if you can kind of, remember, when it comes to just what was a small token or something that happened during a driver appreciation from a company or a person, if you, have a memory that you could share with our listeners, just about like, hey, like this might have been small or it could have been significant, but this really impacted me positively.
I'll never forget, man. It had to have been like '03 or '04, man. And I was in Jefferson City, Missouri, and I'll never forget this. I was in Jefferson, Missouri. It was during Driver Appreciation Week, and me and my driver manager, we were just kind of chatting back and forth on the pickup, and I was just letting him know we got to drop. And I told him I was on the way to Kansas City through, and I was going to stop at a Walmart there in Kansas City and kind of shut it down because the delivery was not far from that Walmart that I was going to shut it down at. He's like, hey man, you heard of barbecue? So we start talking a stupid little barbecue conversation, whatever.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, man, I was like, yeah, I'll check it out. It's kind of one of those things where you just dismiss it. I was like, yeah, I'll check it out.
For
Okay,
sure.
cool. Yeah, just thanks for the idea. And next thing I heard, I got to like, so we had like Qualcomms back then. They were like screens like this big and like that thick, and it had a red light at the top of it. And I'm driving, I hear beep, and that's kind of like that's the if you know, right? So I was like, okay. So I went there and I went behind the seat and I'm driving. I grabbed it, and then I looked at it. It was a com check for $100, man. Um,
Wow.
and he said, hey man, he said, go grab you something from there on me. And it was just like, oh man, I was like, yo, that was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we were just in a conversation. It wasn't like, he had to do it. And whether or not it was company money, I don't know. I mean, of course it was company money, but back then we didn't have Cash App or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Barely had internet back then. But I thought it was a cool gesture, man. And it stuck with me because it was intentional. And I think that a lot of times, man, that a lot of the things that happen, Malcolm, these days, and because we're in a microwave society, everything is, right now, we're in that microwave society. And a lot of things are not necessarily intentional, they're forced, and they're forced by, okay, driver appreciation week, we're forced to be nice to the drivers, or we're forced to send an email. Like, but that didn't feel forced. It was intentional. It was like genuine, and you know the difference. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that I took away, and it sticks with me. Like I said, that happened back like 22 years ago, man. And it's like, I'll never forget that, and I
And
can definitely appreciate.
that moment's still with you. No, and I'm sorry
Yeah,
to cut you off there, but I was just saying that that moment's still with you, and it may have seemed small, but like that was substantial. I mean, yeah, to your point, like
yeah,
there was no Cash App, there was no Venmo, there was no, incident. So for that to happen, it is one of those if you know moments. And I want to talk about that genuineness and that intentionality when it comes to companies. I mean, you have been on all sides of supply chain and trucking. I mean, you are the trucking guy. So how can specifically, I would say, a brokerage be more intentional in celebrating driver appreciation, not just for this week, not just a social media post on LinkedIn and all your other platforms, but when it comes to the entire year, how can that genuineness and that intentionality go just beyond this week in September?
So it's bigger than just appreciating the driver. It's taking a level and appreciate the person for what they do.
Ooh,
I think that they're ultimately we put drivers in a bucket, right? Like it's I hate to say this, man, and I, me and my boy would always talk about this. Sometimes you would go to a shipper and the person that's sitting behind the desk, and I'm not throwing no shade, but the person
yeah,
that's sitting behind the desk, maybe $15, $16 an hour to sign bill of ladings,
yeah,
and I'm coming in here and I get paid, six figures plus, for driving a truck, and that person that's back there is treating me like I'm less of a person, like I'm not allowed to use your bathroom, or don't use my clipboard, use your own, that type of environment. So when I think about from a broker perspective and the things that a broker can do when they come to, there's a couple of things that stand out. First of all, don't treat me like a driver. Treat me like a person first.
can you
Treat me
say
like
that one more time for me?
Don't treat me like a driver. Treat me like a person. Treat me like a person that's your equal. Treat me up like a person that's like your partner. Treat me like the person that you would not be able to move that freight without using my equipment. Act like I'm somebody to you. Number one. Number two, the thing that really kind of sticks out to me is that like it goes back to a code of ethics when it comes down to people. If you got beef with somebody and I'm cool with you, then that person that you got beef with, I got beef with too.
Yeah,
If you got a customer, Mr. or Mrs. Brokerage, that treats your drivers like crap, then you need to have a problem with them too, especially if I do. And if that means that you say, you know what, unfortunately, I'm going to choose not to move your freight anymore because you won't let Malcolm use the bathroom, which we've been moving we've been at this point for some time now. Then maybe you need to find a different customer to make sure they value your partnerships better. So I think that between making sure you treat me like a person, making sure you got my back more than anything else. If I'm taking care of you, take care of me. If I'm making sure that you look good and that you're handling your business and I'm definitely handling mine, then act like it. Treat me like that. And then I like to think that the third part of it, man, is that fraud has been rampant
yeah.
and there's been a lot of ratchets in different ways and handling things differently these days, whether it's onboarding, whether it's check calls, all that stuff. But if I've been doing business with you for, say 3-4 years, and I've been running loads for you 3-4 years, and you still feel that there's a need that you need to check, call, and track and trace every 5 seconds and call and blow my phone up every 5 minutes, you got a problem. I don't care about your process. You need to adjust your process to fit the needs of your business partnership. So I think it's little things like that, you know what I mean? That the more that you can take off the plate and the burden of a driver, and to allow them to be able to do what they need to do with trust. Once you establish that, then the more that you need to back off yourself and really allow them to do what they need to do. So there's ways, and it doesn't mean that you got to send me. You don't have to send me $100 for barbecue in Kansas City. You don't have to give me a hot dog that's been on the wheel of death at your pilot for 14 hours that day.
Yeah.
I don't want your I don't want your big gulp soda, and I don't want a Blue Parrot headset for 10% off. I want to be treated like a person. I want to know that my voice matters. I want to be tired of feeling like that I'm at the bottom of the totem pole of this transaction when in all actuality, without that foundation of that, this whole transaction wouldn't take place. I want to be treated like you would want to be treated. I want you, Mr. or Mr. Broker, if you got a truck stop within 20 miles of you and you've never been in there, I want you to get off work today. I want you to go pack a bag and I want you to go get some flip-flops and take a shower at a truck stop and see what that's like. See what that wait time, that process is like. See what that's like. Like, see what it's like. And I think that ultimately, if you can, you may not be able to stand in my shoes or you might not be able to do the things that I do, but if you just had a glimpse into the way things work, I think you would treat me differently. And that's coming from that's from a driver perspective.
I think that is an exercise that every single broker across America and all these different companies should do, and really executives as well, because you have to think that, this behavior that is on the broker side. I mean, I'm not naive. It's kind of taught, right? Some companies do phenomenal, right, when it comes to, interactions with drivers. But others, I mean, this is, hey, get to the bottom of the market, ensure that we can get every single dollar because profit share, profit margin, that is the only things that we are concerned about. And, to your point, reputations amongst the community when it comes to carriers and drivers specifically, they're not going to want to haul for you. I mean, we see it all the time with these big, entities, and I completely, hear where you're coming from, and I think that is extremely valid and something that I mean I'm probably going to do myself is to actually go and spend that time and document it for all of our listeners so they can just truly see like, hey, this is valid. This is a valid concern, and I know we have a hard stop, but my final question for you, you're the man that calls the plays. I want you to talk a little bit about Playbook and just everything you're doing because you're doing some incredible stuff here at FreightWaves as well.
Yeah, so that playbook project is one that's really near and dear because our goal and our focus is to uplift the education, the acumen, and also the resources for our small carrier communities, the owner operators out there. FreightWaves does a tremendous job of reaching the audiences at bay. What we really want to do is we want to bring them all into one ecosystem, broker, shipper, but now we want to bring in the heartbeat America, which is the small carriers, but we want to bring them in with the resources and tools. So the playbook is full of articles on the website that are really play sheets. They're not necessarily always news. They're educational tool tips. They're,
Right.
hey, here's how you do this. Here's how you do that. And we wanted to create a platform that was more educational based versus news. There's enough news out there
For sure.
to satisfy your entire plate. Our goal was to drive education. So we're driving education through master classes. We have a roadmap tool, which if you're a brand new owner operator, if you're a driver that wants to become an owner operator, we've got a roadmap product that takes you all the way through step by step from A to Z and what you need to do every single step of the way. And then we also have things that we're working through, like the long haul podcast, where it gives us the opportunity to sit down with people who impact small carriers and who have a connection with small carriers and who support small carriers, which is really, really important to us. And we've been really, really fortunate to have amazing growth with the playbook. If you haven't done so already, please make sure that you go to the website, www.freightwaves.com/playbook. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter too, as well, because we're delivering these articles that are really, really pertinent to the small carrier owner operator community, and we're making sure that that's being delivered out. And we also have quarterly webinars that we do. We've got a quarterly webinar that's coming up in October. This particular webinar is going to be specifically for the small operator that's just getting started, the new entrant that's just getting started. We want to make sure that you started your business the right way, but we want to give you what to expect because our goal is to help you make sure that you stay in business. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be in conjunction with truckstop.com. So really, really excited about that product. And then we got another couple of exciting projects that we've gotten to work. So these are just a little bit just getting started. Playbook's just getting started, and I can't wait to see you all connected with it.
That is awesome stuff. Mr. Adam Wingfield again. Adam, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed this interview, man. This was phenomenal stuff, man.
Yes, sir. Likewise, likewise. Anytime you want to run that fade on 26, man, I'll bring my custom controller. I'm ready for it.
Hey, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So I'll see you in a
Right,
couple
right.
weeks.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Well, it was a pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. And of course, I appreciate Heather Williams as well with Repower, who gave us an awesome interview. I do want to let you guys know again, the Freight Tech 100 will be unveiled on September 22nd. So you guys make sure you all are tuned in for that. And F3 is going to be here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, the big 423 from October 21st to the 22nd at the Chattanooga Choo Choo. So make sure you guys are tuned in. I've said it once, I'll say it as many times as possible. Craig Fuller, the team here, we do it big. This is going to be the biggest and baddest F3 to date. I can't wait. I've heard some rumblings of a lot of interesting and fun stuff. Same seminars, demos, you name it, we got it. Only here at F3. And it has been a wonderful show. I really appreciate, again, Heather as well as Adam for jumping on and Friday, we're going to come back with another hot show for you guys to end Trucker Appreciation Week. I appreciate you guys. Malcolm Harris, your host, only here on What? The Truck. I'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.